Disclaimer. The content presented in this video is based on publicly available reports, independent analysis, expert opinions, and speculative data. India, rising while China wavers. As China grapples with doubts over its real population size and faces the cascading effects of a possible demographic collapse, India is stepping into the global spotlight, not just as the most populous country, but as a serious contender for the title of the world's factory. In 2023, India officially surpassed China in population, with over 1.4 billion people, according to United Nations estimates. But what sets India apart now isn't just sheer numbers, it's timing. A young, growing workforce. While China is aging rapidly, with its median age already surpassing 39, India remains youthful. Over 50% of its population is under the age of 30. This gives India a major demographic advantage, a growing workforce that's hungry for jobs, innovation, and opportunity. Economists call it the demographic dividend, and India is right in the middle of it. Why companies are leaving China? For decades, global brands relied on China as the go-to manufacturing hub. But that's changing. Several factors are pushing companies to look elsewhere. Rising labor costs in China, US-China trade tensions and tariffs, geopolitical uncertainty, especially after the pandemic, concerns over data security, IP theft, and authoritarian control. In contrast, India offers cheaper labor, political stability, and an open market economy. India's big tech and manufacturing push. India isn't just waiting around, it's aggressively courting global giants to build there. Apple, for example, has begun shifting iPhone production to India, with Foxconn, Wistron, and Pegatron setting up assembly plants. In fact, by 2025, it's estimated that 25% of all iPhones could be made in India. Other major tech and auto companies, Samsung, Xiaomi, Tesla, and even semiconductor firms, are eyeing or expanding operations in India. The Indian government is fueling this momentum with initiatives like Make in India, a campaign launched to boost domestic manufacturing. PLI, production-linked incentive schemes, offering incentives for companies that manufacture locally. Infrastructure upgrades from highways to ports to high-speed rail. A digital revolution. India is also undergoing a digital transformation on an unprecedented scale. With over 800 million internet users and the world's cheapest mobile data, India is now one of the largest online markets. That means not only can India manufacture goods, it can also consume them, making it a dual force in global economics. The rise of platforms like UPI, Unified Payments Interface, an instant payment system that processes billions of transactions monthly, shows how India is innovating in ways that are outpacing even developed economies. Challenges remain, but the trajectory is clear. India still faces obstacles: bureaucratic red tape, infrastructure gaps, and a need for skill development. But the momentum is real, and the world is watching. If China's future is shrouded in demographic doubt, India's path is being carved out with youthful energy, strategic alliances, and open markets. The shift has begun. What we're witnessing is a historic economic pivot. The world's factory floor is being reimagined. China may still produce the most goods today, but India is where the next wave of global production, consumption, and innovation will come from. As factories hum in Tamil Nadu, as engineers write code in Bengaluru, and as young entrepreneurs raise capital in Mumbai, India isn't just rising, it's arriving. The vanishing billions. China's population mystery. In 2023, India officially overtook China to become the most populous country in the world. On paper, China still claimed a staggering 1.41 billion citizens. But whispers across academic intelligence and statistical circles suggested something deeply unsettling. China may have far fewer people than it admits, perhaps even half as many. To understand this mystery, we need to go back to 2010, when China conducted its sixth national census. The result was 1.37 billion people. But then came a bizarre revelation in 2013. According to leaked information circulating online, the Chinese Ministry of Public Security canceled 350 million household registrations, known as hukou, in a nationwide cleanup. It turned out that millions of fake or duplicated identities had flooded the system. So-called sister house, auntie house, and other infamous property hoarding aliases were uncovered. Over 500,000 police officers worked non-stop for 48 hours and found over 350 million duplicate records. If these were all fake or overlapping, then the actual population would have dropped to around 1.02 billion, a staggering 350 million less than previously believed. The Chinese government never updated the official figure. Adding to the confusion was the demographic crash between 2000 and 2010. Despite the booming image of China, official figures suggest a population decline of 250 million during that decade alone. The most significant crisis in that period? The 2003 SARS outbreak. While the official death toll was low, rumors swirled that the true number of deaths may have reached into the hundreds of millions, a claim no one could verify, yet eerily persistent. By 2013, perhaps noticing the demographic cliff ahead, China began relaxing its one-child policy. First, families with one partner being an only child could have 2 children. Later, this extended to all couples. But the expected baby boom never came. Fertility had collapsed. Despite incentives, the desire to have more children never recovered. The data tells a grim story. In 2000, new births were still in the tens of millions. By 2010, they dropped to 6.4 million. In 2016, after the 2-child policy, births briefly rose to 8 million, only to plummet again. By 2019, new births dropped to just 4.6 million. And school enrollments tell the same tale. Over 16 million new students in 2018, down to just 9 million by 2022. In 2021, faced with mounting evidence of a population implosion, China approved a 3-child policy. The speed at which family planning laws were reversed, from strict one-child mandates to promoting teenage pregnancies, was frantic, almost desperate. Then came the 7th census, delayed and shrouded in secrecy. Released in May 2021, it claimed 1.44 billion people. But the math didn't add up. In 2020, China reported 1,200,000 births and a population growth of 1,173,000. That would mean only 27,000 people died during a year when COVID ravaged the globe, compared to nearly 10 million deaths annually in the years before. A miracle? Or a cover-up? Doubts spread internationally. Russian analysts claimed China's food consumption and trade didn't match a 1.4 billion population. Japanese demographers used salt consumption, a traditional Chinese method, to estimate the population at around 800 million. AI and data analysis followed. Here's what they found. Electricity usage. Residential power consumption in 2023 was 1.4 trillion kWh. If each person uses 15,002,000 kilowatt-hours per year, that suggests 0.7 to 0.9 billion people. But wait, only 15% of national electricity goes to households. Consumer spending? China reported 47 trillion RMB in spending in 2023. At 26,000 RMB per person annually. That implies over 1.8 billion people, but only if the data were clean. With fake transactions removed and elite consumers excluded, the adjusted population estimate lands between 0.8 to 1 billion people. Healthcare, pension, and education data further confirmed the population might realistically lie between 0.75 and 0.9 billion people. So, where did the rest go? A combination of underreported deaths, missing rural populations, fake identities, and immigration could explain the discrepancy. Many rural elderly die without documentation. Many young people leave and never dare register. And some urban names simply disappear. The most chilling possibility? A mass die-off during COVID and its aftermath, unacknowledged, undocumented, and politically inconvenient. In March 2023, a viral post cited AI analysis and consumption data, concluding China's true population was just 0.75 billion people. That's half the size it claims. If this figure were publicly accepted, it could upend global economics, collapse Chinese markets, and shatter the myth of China's inexhaustible labor force and consumer base. That's why no scholar dares confirm it. And no government wants to touch it. Behind the smog of statistics and censorship lies a haunting possibility. China's population may be vanishing faster than anyone dares to admit. Is India ready to replace China as the world's factory? As the world watches global supply chains shift, one big question is heating up. Can India really take China's place as the factory of the world? Let's break it down with the numbers. Global manufacturing share. China owns the throne at nearly 28%. India, just 3.3%, but rising fast. Manufacturing workforce? China boasts 150 million workers. India trails at 60 million, but it has something China doesn't: youth. Exports? China, a massive $3.6 trillion. India, $450 billion. But just 10 years ago, it was less than half that. China's infrastructure is world-class. High-speed rail, megaports, and tightly integrated supply chains. India is catching up slowly. Ports are expanding, logistics are digitizing, and reforms like Make in India are unlocking new potential. Doing business in China? Fast, efficient, but risky. One government crackdown can collapse a whole sector overnight. India? Bureaucratic red tape is still a pain, but it's improving. Global giants like Apple, Samsung, and Tesla are already moving in. So, will India take over China as the world's factory? Not today. Maybe not even in the next 5 years. But by 2035, if India continues at this pace, it could become the new global manufacturing powerhouse. The factory of the future might not be in Shanghai. It might be in Mumbai. China isn't integrating with the world anymore. It's slowly disconnecting. Through the Belt and Road Initiative and rising tensions with the West, China is positioning itself in direct opposition to the US and Europe. As a result, many Western nations no longer want to rely on China as the world's factory. Meanwhile, India, a democratic nation, is taking a different path. It's willing to compromise and cooperate, striking trade deals with the UK and nearing an agreement with the US. Yes, India still struggles with red tape and bureaucracy, but its government is actively working to improve the business environment. With a massive population, abundant labor force, and growing international partnerships, India's potential is quickly outpacing China's. Western countries are now looking to shift their eggs into India's basket. So, will India surpass China as the next global manufacturing hub? Give it 10 to 20 years, it might not be a wild dream after all.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it, because some stories are meant to be discovered together. And stay curious, I'll see you in the next chapter.